Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I just saw a little bit of a clip from First Take where Stephen A. And JJ Redick and Perk were having a conversation about Kobe Bryant, not Kobe Bryant, excuse me, players not getting the MVP, some who did, and during that time, Steve Nash got an MVP, Dirk Nowitzki got MVP. It was some type of thing where Perk just basically correlated that white players were getting voted in a certain way. Like I said, I listened to it in a very vague way and immediately turned on the camera. So if my context is out, forgive me. But I think it's not that I wanted to debate anything they said, which is why I just stepped away and didn't listen to the whole thing in context. It was more so me bringing something to the table that I think it's important. JJ Redick had kind of came back at Perk and held him accountable, and I salute JJ Redick for standing up for what he believed in. And it's them for his people, man. That's something that we really shun when it comes to Caucasian people. But I'd love to live in a world where we don't have to do that for the sake of past racism and hatred. I want to get to a place where good white people are stood up for it just like good black people would be. And I want to be able to support that with a White Lives Matter shirt just like I want them to support a Black Lives Matter shirt. And I don't want the guise of anything to get in the way of simple and utter compassion. And I mean that from the heart. So I salute JJ for standing up for his folks, man. Stand up for yourself, especially when you feel you're disadvantaged or your people are disadvantaged in a certain area. Because Lord knows I know how that is. And when you're in the NBA, you are a minority as a white basketball player. And a lot of times dudes don't get the respect they deserve. I'm watching it and I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? And that don't make me any less of a black person stand up for my people. I just don't like injustice in any form. And I certainly hate, with all due respect, I don't like that word, but I hate seeing past racism affect current people who are standing for decent stuff in the presence of manipulated environments that allow for such to be in place. Now, I'm not saying the NBA is a manipulated environment that allows for that. I just think that the NBA over time has turned to a black person sport. We took it over, man. We jumped, we all these different things. But also the European game is starting to take over. They are also experts. They also have a gift for the game. And so we starting to see more people of fair skin be involved. And now this conversation is a bit more prevalent again because maybe they're getting their opportunities. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're being funneled into the league because of the disadvantage that they may have had. With so many people being a fair skin, having control over the environment, yes, maybe they do want more of their talented people in the game. I think there's a place for anybody who can really play. And most importantly, with the level that guys can give you, regardless of what their skin color is, you want to just get the pieces that are going to help you win. And I tell you right now, one of my favorite Lakers is Austin Reeves. And I fight, literally fight every day for people to understand how good he is. It ain't because he's white. Although I know because he's white, he's probably in a disadvantage to where people are going to look at him and say, nah, he ain't this, or nah, he's probably that, so we can guard him a certain way. And that stereotype, I think, is what JJ Redick doesn't like. He said that, he thinks First Take comes up with narratives that are not real, that tend to create these environments where people are baiting each other against their differences, or their color, skin, or whatever, race, etc. And he doesn't like that show does that. And I want him not to be removed from the show for saying that. That's why I got on this camera. Like, listen, I didn't even listen to the whole segment. He might have went off and said a lot more that may have been egregious. But at the end of the day, I had to stop and say, yo, not only do I appreciate that he stood up for his folks in a world where I'm not supposed to say that, but I also appreciate the fact that he understands that he is a part of something that keeps this crap going. Literally. And this is what we talk about, the people behind the curtain who they use these subjects to get us riled up. And he just basically said that from behind the curtain, from behind a paywall. And they're going to hate him for that. They're going to hate JJ for that. And it's very unfortunate because he's standing up for white people. They're going to be able to use that against him. And I'm telling you, I'm jumping way ahead of that. I'm with you, JJ. All that's whack. All that's whack. All of it. Stop using our pain against us. Yes, we were slaves. Yes, white people did what they did. Yes, a lot of the history is clogged and we don't know all the facts and all of that stuff is real. But we don't need to live in a world where JJ can't simply say, yo, can we not do that? Because it offends me. That should be cool. That should be cool regardless of where we at in other areas of our life. That should be fine because at the end of the day, we do see that there's something there. There's something to see. We see that. So that's what I want to say, man. I'd stand up for what's right. If I perceive it to be right, I'm going to use my voice for it. Now, what I also see is the balance Just like I said, they may be trying to funnel certain people into the league because of the fact that certain people have been depraved from being in the league for so long, and they've held on to having a predominantly black league for a long time, made them a lot of money, and I think it's been good. But they've also had some bad instances where the black athlete has done things that just rub them the wrong way, regardless of how I feel about it. There's a lot of times when they were rubbing them the wrong way, I was agreeing with it, but that ain't the point. The point is that now they're tired. So it stands to reason that they're going to want different people in there. I don't want to deal with more Ja Morants. I don't want to deal with more Kais. I want to deal with more Jokic's because they're easy to deal with. And that's what I think a lot of them are thinking. You know, I really believe that. And so this is a situation where I tell a guy like JJ, with all that you said, you have to understand that there is going to be an entity that's going to favor certain people because of that depravity. Just like we would if it was opposite. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of people did vote for Steve Nash because he was white. I'm pretty sure a lot of people did vote for Dirk Nowitzki because he was white. Because there was some ambiguity as to whether or not they deserved that. And that's a fact. And I don't remember who the third name was that he mentioned. I don't have it in my head, but somebody else who was white won MVP, and I guess it was correlated some kind of way to how the voting went. I got to go back and listen to the segment. But the point is, look, there's balance to be had. Yes, we're in this space where there ain't a lot of white players, and a lot of them aren't being shoved out there to be shown how good they are. It's a lot of them that I think are really good, and they're just not getting playing time. But there's also an entity in place that hates black people, just in general. It will do anything and everything to keep black people from getting where they need to go. To keep our image from being positive, and they'll use our pain against us in this way. You know what I mean? To make it so that people are looking at us and say, look at those black people, that's and then make us mad at JJ because JJ's standing up for white supremacy. No, he's not. He's not. That's a confusion creating thing right there. So, you know, I don't know if that's what this actually was. You know, maybe they told JJ to do that so they could have this conflict. You know, I never put nothing past nobody. But at the end of the day, I just feel like there's a world where within a space where I can say white supremacy exists and it's evil and it's been bad for a long time, there's a space where we can say, yo, we can also see where the NBA doesn't have a lot of white folks in it, and maybe there's a gripe there. Maybe there's a legitimate gripe there. Because there's a hell of a lot of dope players like Jay Huff and Mac McClung that are not getting their opportunities. And I do believe they're white American. It is because they're white Americans. I do believe that. I think there's a certain unfair stigma on their players, and it's a lot of dope ones that have played the game. And they ain't getting any respect. I look at John Stockton. He don't really get his respect historically. And I don't know that it's only because he didn't win. I don't know that. And you consider he's at the top of the steals and assists, and we barely hear his name? I don't know, man. I don't know. I never really understood that. You know, so it's little stuff like that just isn't in place, and it can be manipulated because of the conundrum of both, all of this. And so let's just find balance, man. Let's find balance. You know, that's what I'm looking at. And in these conversations that you know, First Take brought to the table, at the end of the day, you're going to get more clicks because of it. So as long as we continue to prioritize numbers, we're always going to have an environment where controversy and clickbait stuff and anything that could rile people up is going to be on demand. And the environment for that can get worse as we continue to kick that can down the road. So we got to be careful with that kind of stuff, man. Today we're riling people up, you know, to be against one another. Tomorrow the generations may be a bit crazier and maybe riling people up to fight against one another. Don't think it ain't fathomable. We've already done it before. So, you know what I mean? We revert in a lot of ways as a society, as people. If we don't learn from the history, we're destined to repeat what we've already done. So for me, I just don't want to see the tables turn. I don't believe in no supremacy of no kind. I don't want to see any supremacy. I think there's too many different types of people all over the world for one type of person to be controlling everything. I don't think that that's even how it should be anymore. We've learned better. You know what I mean? We should evolve in our thinking. So that's where my head is going in regards to that conversation. I'll get back to listening more of what they were saying, so I'll have better context of what the conversation really was. But I just want to come here and say I stand with JJ in the sense that it shouldn't be bad for white folks to stand for white folks, so long as they're not hating black folks in doing so. So long as they're not hating everybody else in doing so. You know what I mean? And I feel that way about everybody, including my own folks. I don't think anything that involves hating everybody else and ostracizing everybody else from you is going to ultimately help you. No matter how much you have or what advantage you may have in this current moment, tides can change and you're going to need people. So that's what I got to say, man. Support everybody. And I appreciate everybody supporting me. And I'm a black dude. I love black people. I support black people. I want to see black people succeed. A lot. All the time. You know, that's something that needs to be said. Because it's like, I can support white folks and still be pro-black. Let's normalize that. Because pro-black doesn't mean anti-white. Pro-black doesn't mean anti-LGBTQ. You know, it doesn't. Just like pro-white doesn't have to mean anti-black either. And we don't live in a world where that's even, like, what? How? How? I'm telling you that there's plenty of white people that I know. My homeboy Smokey. That's my guy, my homeboy Bilski. You think I'm gonna let somebody do, like, no. These people got kids that I care about. I want to see them in an environment where they're safe. Just, they're white Americans, so what? My ancestors did whatever. They ain't got shit to do with my homeboy Smokey. Ain't got nothing to do with Bilski's kid. I want to be a part of the village that makes us think that they're safer, man. Not because of their skin color, not because no, just because of my friends. And they're alive, and I'm happy about it. Literally. Video 44. I thank you all for watching.